Welcome, everybody, into a very special episode of Nerd Sesh. What in God's name just happened, Logan? The craziest NBA trade of our lifetimes, maybe of all time. Reported by Shams, my first thought was that he was hacked. Like, I didn't think that this could possibly be real, but it is. The Los Angeles Lakers are acquiring Luka Doncic along with Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris. The Mavericks are getting Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and the 2029 first from the Lakers. And the Jazz, who cares? But they're involved in this too. Logan, now we have another tweet from Shams 3 minutes ago. Obviously, this is all fresh off the presses. So, like, we are just going to try to unpack all of this craziness with you guys. He says the Mavs approached the Lakers recently and offered Luka. Lakers brass met and believe the 25-year-old Doncic has the ability to be the face of their franchise for the next decade while giving AD a win now move in Dallas. That to me is shocking beyond comprehension. Completely unprecedented to trade away a player who I believe is already among the 12 greatest offensive peaks that we've ever seen. 25 years old. What the hell is going on in Dallas?
I'm failing to wrap my head around this for the Mavericks, man. Like to me, it comes down to one of two things. Like logically, either Luca is seriously injured and hurt, or something like that, and we don't know about it, and the Mavericks are like ready to get rid of him, or I guess they're afraid maybe he'll decline his player option like way down the road in 26, 27. But like this changes the landscape of the West. Like it completely shifts everything. I just don't understand why you'd be willing to ever give up a player the caliber of Luka Doncic. I think he's one of the three three to four best players on planet Earth right now. I'd have him top three, and you don't trade away that guy. Like we saw what he did last year in the
No.
playoffs, and I didn't even think that was like peak Luka. You know, he was dealing with injuries. I didn't think he was engaged defensively. I thought we were just seeing him really scratch the surface of what he was going to accomplish in Dallas. You know, it seemed like the shoe couldn't have fit any more perfect. You know, it seemed like he was going to be the next European star for them. And I don't know, man. I don't know if there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about between Luka and the front office that is going to come to light. If he's hurt, like I mentioned, I don't know why you would ever agree to this if you were Dallas, man. This is a home run for the Lakers to like, and I get that they give up Anthony Davis, but you would do whatever in your power to get Luka Doncic. You would give up almost anything, and I just can't believe that this is real. I'm with you.
I can't even begin to wrap my head around what Dallas is thinking, because even if it turns out that Luka is like the worst guy in the world behind the scenes, I don't think it could be an injury thing because that would show up in medical stuff. Like you can't get away with that. And we've been hearing that he's coming back soon. Even if Luka was demanding a trade, but that's not what it sounds like it was at all. It sounds like Dallas came to the table with this offer wanting to trade Luka. But no matter what the reason is, you could have gotten back the haul of a lifetime, and this is not it. And I get that you've crafted your entire roster to be a contending group, but do you know why you've done that? Because you had the 25-year-old top four player in the world. Doesn't work without him. As great as AD is, this is not a team that puts the same kind of fear into me that it does when Luka Doncic is on the floor. I think that this offense just became significantly less potent. I think that does AD really want to play with a center that bad, Logan, that he went to the place that has 48 quality minutes of center play once Derek Lively is healthy again? You got back in terms of future assets a 2029 first round pick, and you gave up one of the greatest offensive talents we've ever seen and one of the best players in the league today who hasn't even theoretically begun his prime. He's Luka. We know he's been in his prime since year two and has just continued to get better, but it's catastrophic. It is completely catastrophic for Dallas. I don't see any way around it. You're getting back is he 33? It just blows my mind that you would abbreviate your window like that. And for the Lakers, no matter what they do.
80's 31.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was
But still,
high
I
for
mean,
a
the
second
point
there. Whatever.
stands. No, I mean, the point stands.
Yeah, well, that was crazy. But nevertheless, post 30, you think about some of the availability issues that he has had, which obviously have been better over the last year and change, but I'm just completely flabbergasted. Clearly, I can't even remember how old Anthony Davis is. For LA, I think that they are viewing this as a win now move. I don't think that they are setting this up to be a trade LeBron move. I don't think that LeBron wants that. I just think he's too happy with his life circumstances, and I think that he wants to retire a Laker. But, like, not only does this make you better now just because Luka is a better basketball player, even though now you have some super wonky shit to figure out in the front court. I don't know what they're gonna do for their center minutes. Obviously, you'll have LeBron at the 4, and, it's gonna be a lot of Jackson Hayes for now, but there has to be another move incoming for them. But Luka makes them better right now just because he's that sort of unbelievable talent, but, like, for the future, dude, oh my god. You have light post LeBron. Like, the thing with them has always been, well, why not go all in on this window even though, like, we're not a particularly good team right now because we know that, like, after this, we have nothing. We have a couple of first round picks down the line, but we've traded away most of our draft capital anyways. Now you have Luka Doncic, man. You have Luka Doncic. You have an entire second window that is going to be open after this. Like, they could not possibly have done better for themselves. They really couldn't have.
I mean, I don't even really care what it means for this year because I don't know if it's going to materialize, right? Like, I think, the team has some glaring roster holes now, like defensively, like when we're looking at them in terms of actual contention. But you got Luka Doncic, you got one of the best foundational pieces in the NBA today. Like I said, you give up whatever. And you made a really important point in there, Carson. I just really don't understand how little Dallas got back in return for a piece like Luka Doncic. Like, bro, we saw Paul George go for 5 firsts in Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and that was like
Yeah.
a sign and trade, right? And we saw. My point is that
Mikal
just
Bridges went for 5 firsts this
Rudy
past off
Gobert,
season.
like, I mean, we've seen. That's the part that I don't get. And, like, don't get me wrong, Anthony Davis is, a top 10 to 15 player in the NBA today, right? Like, I probably
Absolutely. Top 10.
probably
Stand
top 10.
10.
Yeah, I would say he's top 10. And so, like, you're getting that back, but I don't think you're going to get significant return. Like, he's aging, he's past 30, he's injury prone. Like, I just
Yeah.
don't get for
He'll be
Dallas.
32 in a month. So he is
But
almost 32.
that's what's sticking out for this for me for Dallas. Like, this is a home run for the Lakers, like you said, man. In a million play, everyone is going to want to play with Luka Doncic, right? Like, that's an easy sell. Hey, you come to LA, you play for the Lakers, and you're with Luka. Like, that's an easy sell for anybody. But for Dallas, I just don't understand the compensation, man. I feel like you could have gotten a boatload for Luka. It just doesn't make any sense to me for Dallas.
Okay. We have some generous donations that I want to acknowledge. Mr. Taco Bout It says Stein says Luka did not request the trade. What the hell is going on? What is wrong with Luka? Like, how can you possibly explain that on the heels of a finals run, having constructed your entire roster around the vision of, okay, we got to bolster our front court, right? We got to have 48 minutes of quality center play and have this good interior defense. And we need PJ Washington
They're
to be
set
that sort
up.
of
I mean, they're
flexible
primed to
four.
go. They're literally designed,
They
crafted
built the team.
perfectly around Luka and Kyrie.
I really, really like what they built, man. And you look at some of the home runs that they hit in the offseason. Najee Marshall has been so good for them. Quentin Grimes has been so good for them. Like, I really thought that we were going to see a very, very good basketball team once Luka was back and healthy. There's no precedent for this, dude. There's no precedent for this. I'm trying to think about the other, like, mega superstar all-time players who have been traded in their primes. And you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but that had come to a boiling point, right? The Bucks were struggling. He wanted out. You have Kevin Garnett, obviously. That's after years of Minnesota failing him. And even he was older, right? Even he had already put in 12 years for Minnesota. This is 25-year-old Luka Doncic doesn't ask for a trade. There is no historical precedent for this. There truly isn't. Austin says this is the biggest night in sports history. We've witnessed history. In terms of a single move, a single trade, I agree. Like, we can't comment on the magnitude yet. This is the most unfathomable trade that I have ever seen or that we have seen in the history of the NBA. And you just don't see players as great as Luka Doncic traded at this age, and you certainly don't see it against their will, man. Like, what the hell? Think about what the Lakers did holding out with Kobe when he did want to trade. You just don't let that guy go, and you certainly don't let him go for almost 32-year-old Anthony Davis and a first-round pick down the line when you have a roster that made the
And
finals last year, and you're trying to do that again this year.
and yet, what do you think? The Lakers are just gonna suck in 29? There's no guarantee that that pick is even any good. Like,
You've got Luka. Now that you've got Luka, I mean, obviously the Lakers don't have the draft capital really, but they'll find a way, man. You find a way to put talent around a
it's LA.
superstar like
You've
that.
got Luca now. Like,
They'll be good.
it's an
They will
easy.
be
It's an
good in
easy, and
2029.
it's Luca. You
It's
don't.
Luka Doncic.
You don't give that guy up, man. You don't
It's the
give that
dude
guy up.
who took Dwight Powell and spot up shooters to be in the #1 offense in his second
Yeah,
season,
bruh.
man. It's Luka Doncic. They are going to be a good basketball team. So, like, they did it knowing that they were just getting back AD, and this was their idea? I'm really, really struggling to wrap my head around this. Okay, Santos says Lakers need a center, and Rob was like, "Nah, let's get Luka." What the fuck? I mean, it is super weird in terms of roster construction for the Lakers now because like they just have a desert in terms of
DFS.
bigs.
It's small ball five.
Let's see them get wacky, man. A little small ball DFS out there. Like maybe we'll see some small ball LeBron at center. It's super strange. I think that their offense is going to be absolutely insane. I mean, if we want to get into some of the basketball specifics of it, I think that you could see some really, really fun two-man stuff with Luka and LeBron. I think you can see LeBron unlocked more as a roller. He's never, ever played with a pick and roll creator of this caliber. Obviously, there's only been a couple of them in NBA history. Now he has that. I'm excited for what this could do for Luka playing off the ball, right? You think about some of the actions they can run with him screening for LeBron, potentially go screening. Dare I say he can do what Austin Reeves does a little bit better. Like, I think that they actually could be really, really good for each other's offensive games. And it'll be fun to see how Luka does fare alongside a player who is more ball dominant than anybody else who he's played with before. And he just has so much more offensive talent around him, man. Now, I do think that Reeves has had a really good season. Obviously, that defensive backcourt is now back to being a disaster after they had finally kind of patched up their perimeter defense with Christie and DFS. But there has to be another center move in the works. I mean, even if they had gotten like a Nick Richards, I'd feel better about that than them going forth with just Jackson Hayes.
I mean,
That's super weird.
they're definitely going to make a move or something along those
Yeah.
lines. But to me, I mean, LA now has a distinct identity, a guy that can actually put. I mean, he can just put the team on his back in a way that AD can't because of how great he can make this offense, man. I mean, like they're gonna. The Lakers' offense, I think, is going to be insane, and yeah, Luka and LeBron are going to. The Lakers, man. I mean, that's what's nuts. We always clown on them, Carson, right? Like, we always clown on them because fans always hype up. They're always, we're going to get this guy. We're going to get this guy.
They did it, bro.
The Lakers have that star appeal. I mean, look, you get Shaq, right? Like, it just draw. Like, you talking about Kareem. Guys want to come play for the... And that's what I don't get, though. I mean, it sounds like the Mavericks just made it easy for LA. Like, I don't get who cooked this up? Like, if I'm going to trade Luka, I'm going to make it simple. Like, if I was going to trade Luka, I'm calling everybody. I'm calling every team in the league. I'm fielding every offer. Like, we are figuring out how to maximize his value, and I just don't think that is what happened in this trade. Like, it sounds like the Mavericks just served up Luka Doncic to the Lakers on a silver platter. Like, hey, guys, do you guys just want, like, one of the 3 best players on the planet? Yeah! Sign me up! I'm with that. I'm like,
we want AD.
Yeah.
What is Nico Harrison thinking? What is Mark Cuban thinking?
I don't get it, man.
Dude, we have some more super chats. OKC owns Mavs 2028 first rounder unprotected. I mean, that pick is going to be golden, man. That pick is going to be golden. Of course the OKC Thunder have it. Of course they do.
Well, and it's
like, bro, almost 33-year-old Kyrie and almost 32-year-old Anthony Davis.
It's not like I think that the Mavericks are gonna fall off a cliff, but exactly.
Yeah. There's just so many different windows that you have with the Luka Doncic, right? You think about how quickly he got you to being a playoff caliber team. And then it was, okay, the first pairing doesn't work out with Kristaps Porzingis, their first attempt at the star pairing, and then fine. They move on to Kyrie. And I had some questions about, okay, in terms of personality, in terms of availability, will this mesh? And they made the finals. And we only got to see a year of that experiment. It just is so insane to me. I truly cannot imagine what is going on under the surface. Vale says they didn't even tell him at all. Luca had no knowledge of this. It's the strangest
It's
sports
a
front
cold
office
world,
move
man. It's
in
a cold.
history.
It's a cold world, man.
Like, I'm speechless, dude. I'm speechless. What is the possible explanation for this for Dallas? Owen says Mavs deserve to rot in poverty for the rest of eternity. That is such a horrible decision. NBA teams never learn. Midseason super teams thrown together never work. Can you even say it's a failing of anything they did before, though, with like the midseason stuff? Like, I don't know, man. Kyrie, well, obviously, the first season that they traded for
I mean,
Kyrie,
you
that
know,
season
I
was already
was,
down the drain. But last year, they were there. I
I
guess if you're
was
talking about what they're doing with AD, but this doesn't make them better right now. Anthony Davis is clearly not a better basketball player than Luka Doncic.
not at all. I mean, I was just gonna say, dude, I was shocked by the Carl Anthony Towns trade when that broke. This is on a completely. This is the biggest trade. I mean, like I'm trying to think of the biggest trades in sports history. Like, right, like you've got Babe Ruth, right? But Babe Ruth was not Babe Ruth when he got traded, right? Like,
It was also 1918.
yeah, exactly. Like, you had Dorsett. Like, that's a crazy trade, but I mean, this might be the biggest trade ever, man. I'm trying to rack my brain through football and basketball.
Herschel Walker got him a hell of a haul.
Yeah. Oh, Herschel Walker. That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, Herschel
Yeah.
Walker's I guess Ricky Williams, like when Ricky Williams got traded for an entire draft, but
I mean, dude, we've seen
this is
some crazy
massive.
trades in recent years. Obviously, AD to the Lakers and Kawhi to the Raptors and James Harden going to Brooklyn, the construction of that whole super team. We've seen a lot of crazy things. You mentioned Paul George earlier. Nothing compares to this. A player this great, this young, who was on a team this successful, who was putting no pressure on the team to deal him. So let's get into this basketball specifics of this, man. This is a complete home run for the Lakers because of what it means for them long term. However, right now, how much of a threat are the Lakers to you? How much better does this really make them for this season?
I mean, I just think they have some glaring holes still. Like,
Yeah,
uh, I mean, specifically, like we've been talking about all episode, size and
they
just
need
play.
Christian Wood back.
Yeah, honestly, man. Maybe Luca would unlock Christian Wood, and
This is like the worst defense ever put
I can't.
to
Yeah,
TV as currently
Reeves, Luca,
constructed.
old ass LeBron, bro. Everyone's gonna run up. I guess there's just gonna be a
Get
track meet.
Rui in there. DFS, poor guy, gonna be
He's
doing a lot of work. Could you imagine if they threw in Bronny in this trade? How hilarious would that have been? The
that's like
salary filler.
that's messed up.
Oh shit. Well, hold on. The Lakers did get back Maxi. That's actually probably gonna
Kleba?
be significant for them. They
No, that
got back
is. I mean,
Maxi
he might.
Kleba.
I mean, he could start
I
for
would
them,
rather have Kleba small ball 5 minutes than I would
and he
Jackson
can and he
Hayes.
can play with Luca. I mean, he's been doing it for a while. Like that's an
And he's
easy.
switchable.
And
He's
DFS,
actually a
DFS has
very
played with
solid
Luca
defender.
before too.
True. Yeah, I mean, they're still going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting. There is literally
I
zero rim protection here, and there is zero high-end point of attack athleticism to be generous. It's like the weirdest team I've ever seen. But I do think the offense, I mean, if they do go Maxi at the 5, obviously there's no lob threat, which is kind of a bummer for Luca, just because he's such a great pick and roll playmaker. But to have this sort of shooting around him and to have the potential two-man game with LeBron, and you've got DFS
Hear
and
me out.
Reeves.
Hear me out. If there was ever any player that could make Jackson Hayes look good, though, isn't it Luka
That's
Doncic?
true. This is true. This is true. Cameron points out Spurs own Mavs 2030 first rounder unprotected. What are
Dallas
they
is
doing,
good.
man? What are they doing? Like, I'm not joking. I think there is a very high probability we look back at this as the single worst move that any front office has ever made, just because of how inexplicable it is, right? Sometimes you miscalculate, sometimes you miss. Okay, sometimes you overestimate a player. Now, you should never trade up your whole draft for Ricky Williams. That's actually just really bad process. I won't ever defend that. You should never do that for any player. But I can't begin to understand the thought process here. Did Luka do something personally to Nico Harrison? What is going on? What is going on? Okay, we have a couple more super chats. Appreciate you guys. Kaylee, shout out y'all for cooking up a fire thumbnail so quick. Thank you, Kaylee. Doing what we can. Gerbil 15. Rumor mill was saying Braun to the Warriors. What do you think the chances are that they blow this whole thing up and they do trade
They
Braun?
cannot do that to LeBron, man. The people need LeBron and Luka, man. We
Yeah.
cannot do this. I'm excited just to see them play together. I feel like they would be robbing us of just even if it's one season, but well, I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter though, man, because like now I can see him just being like, well, all right, our timeline's Luka. Like, let's go get some. Let's recoup some assets for LeBron. I mean, you maxed out AD as an asset. The fact that you got back Luka for AD, I think it's very low just because I think LeBron has a lot of sway in LA. And I just, without it being agreed upon beforehand, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't
Yeah.
see them shopping
Yeah.
LeBron. But it might be it might be the smart move. But I want to see Luka and LeBron play together. So I hope they don't do that.
I do too. I mean, if you were to rank where this new look Lakers roster figures into the West
In the West,
hierarchy, yeah, I think that the Thunder are still clearly
number one.
better.
I had Dallas
I
at
mean,
number two, though. They were
clearly
my
better.
number two team out west still.
I mean, I still
They're
like
cooked.
Dallas more immediately. No, I think Dallas is still better right now. They just have a better basketball team. I mean, their
I mean, I
depth is
guess
so much better.
except Denver firmly moves into that two
Oh,
spot for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Dallas has
I got
gotten
Denver above
worse.
both. I definitely think that Dallas has gotten
Dallas
worse,
is
but their defense with AD, I
should
mean,
be crazy.
personally, I don't think that AD is at his best at the four. I don't know why he has this obsession with playing the four. I think he's at his best in a spaced out environment when he can be in a
Hmm.
5 out offense or when he's getting a majority of the post touches and the touches off the roll and all of that. Like, I just think that's when he's at his best offensively. And then defensively, when he wants to be, he's as good of a five anchor as there is in the league. But fine. I mean, he wants to play with non-floor spacing
I
bigs.
mean,
Wait until this is what unlocks Derek Lively's three ball that we've been hearing about so much.
I guess. I
I
mean,
just think they're a good basketball team, man.
I think they were designed. I think Dallas before doing this move was designed perfectly to go on another deep
Oh,
playoff
100% they
run.
got
Like
worse.
I was bought in on Dallas completely. Now the spacing is going to be really really clunky, and there's a lot of I think there's a lot more pressure that's been applied as Kyrie is the only perimeter creator. Like
Totally
Anthony
agreed.
Anthony Davis is going to alleviate some of that, you would assume, but the spacing down low is worse because people aren't going to be afraid of Lively or Gafford spacing the floor, so they can likely send more attention to AD in his way on the inside. And I, you know, are you starting PJ Washington still? Like I love PJ, but it's
I would start fully healthy Kyrie, Clay, Najee, AD, and then
okay.
Lively. I think that way, although PJ obviously has had a pretty good shooting season, he's honestly a better shooter
I
than
just think the
Najee. I really
defense. I
like
think the
Najee.
defense would be kind of. I think the defense would be crazy with PJ. They
Well,
just don't scare me because Luca is the guy that puts the fear of God into you. He is the guy that
yeah,
snatches your soul. He's that kind of guy, and
he is.
that's the difference.
Yeah, and I think that this offense is now lacking like that really high-end playmaker, and like that advantage creator from the perimeter, right? Like Kyrie can get himself a bucket. We know that. But he is very much meant to be your number two. Very much meant to be your number two. Just with the fact that he's not going to get to the line a lot. He's not going to get to the rim a ton. He's not a high end playmaker. Like he's not supposed to be carrying a load for an offense. That's never been his role. It's certainly not his role at almost 33 years old. So there's no question that Dallas got worse with this. I just think they have a much better roster than LA does, and they still have a much more serious construction as a basketball team because we're talking about the group of wings that they do have with Clay and Najee and PJ and Grimes has been really good for them. Max Christie, honestly, is a solid
I mean,
ad
they'll
for
be
them.
good
Like
this
the
year, but
depth.
It's only
Oh,
a
long
matter of
term, it's a
time, man.
complete disaster. Well, they still got worse this year because this roster was, to me, dependent upon, hey, we have role players who do their jobs and we gotten bigger in the front court. And we're going to be a pretty good defensive team, but we have two star shot makers. We have maybe the greatest offensive backcourt ever, and we have Luka Doncic, man. And Luka Doncic is just one of those offensive maestros, top tier scorer, top tier passer. He will carry us, and Kyrie will be the number two that we need him to be. And then everybody else can kind of just slot into their roles. That's the formula. And now, like, it's not as weird a roster as LA's because LA is just completely missing an entire position group, that being centers, but it's still weird. The spacing is still going to be weird. The lack of that true offensive number one is weird, right? AD can take on more volume, but he's not that sort of creator, certainly not from the perimeter. And I just can't possibly fathom what they're thinking. Also, Mr. Taco says LeBron was not aware of the trade. Damn. So we're just having to take your guys' word on all this stuff because we're not watching ESPN or whatever. We're here yapping ourselves. This is the weirdest thing that I've ever heard of. This is the strangest event in human history.
I was bewildered. I was gobsmacked. I was.
So was LeBron and apparently Luka and apparently everybody else involved. Like, I guess it really doesn't matter what LeBron thinks. Poop Dog 1000 says, LeBron, what are you thinking right now?
I mean, even this would be a trump card for me over LeBron, even if he didn't want to, like, if he didn't want to do it. I don't care. I'm getting Luka back. Sorry, LeBron.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I literally would not care what LeBron says.
Yeah, like,
it's so much bigger than that. It's like, LeBron, all due respect.
That's what I'm
you're
saying,
the GOAT.
dude.
You're 40, though.
Dallas gift wrapped Luka
literally
to the Lakers.
It's unbelievable. They were walking into a dark period, man. They were walking into a 2015, 2016 period where, shit,
dude.
We went all in on these contending teams, and then we went all in on Dwight and Nash, and it didn't work out, and now Kobe's really old, and we have nothing. That's what they were walking into. After LeBron's retirement, they would have still had AD, but that wouldn't be nearly enough. It wouldn't have been as bad as those absolute garbage teams, but they would have been in no man's land. They would have certainly not been a serious playoff team, and they wouldn't have had the draft capital to go out there and meaningfully improve or even rebuild. And like, they just got thrown a lifeline. They just got thrown one of the greatest talents that we've ever seen, who still has so many prime years left to give. I mean, shout out Rob Pelinka, dude. Sounds like he was really working on easy mode with this one.
I wasn't familiar with your game, bro. My fault.
Rob has had a couple moments, man. He's had a couple of really bad moments, but he's had a couple of moments in his career.
And that's what I was saying earlier, man. I guess it's something about but that's what's so weird about this is because if I don't know, man. I don't know if I can believe all that Luka did. It just like, you know what I mean? If it was corroborated and Luka was like, yeah, I want to go to LA or something, that would make sense to me if LA's star power had a reason to do. But again, it just sounds like Dallas went directly to LA, I guess because they were so enamored with Anthony Davis. I don't know, man. Something doesn't.
More information is going to come to light with this.
It's got to.
We are currently in the dark ages of this trade, but like, I've never had a moment like this where there's literally zero speculation. There's zero reporting. Forget the magnitude of the trade. Like with any star, like they never just come out of the blue like this. It never comes on the heels of a finals appearance. Like, I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over again, but that's because I also feel like I'm in a state of psychosis right now. And like, maybe you're not real and maybe none of this is real.
I'm wondering, dude,
maybe I'm dreaming.
This broke the simulation, man.
Maybe I ingested something. Judson Palmer says, glad my Jazz were included. Why is nobody talking about the Jazz's haul of Jalen Hood-Schifino, a 2025 Clippers second and a 2025 Mavs second?
They made out like bandits, man.
They made out like bandits in the night, dude. They made out like bandits in the night. Okay, so we're looking at the Lakers. Obviously, another deal has to be in the works for them, not a deal nearly of the same magnitude. Like, there's been all the Miles Turner talk. That would be really good for them if they could do it. Miles Turner's certainly not the best interior defender, but he is a good NBA center.
I mean, just go all in on...
He's a hell of a lot better than Jackson Hayes.
I mean, you need a big body. He can space the floor a little bit. I formerly called him a top 10 center in the league. That
You
was my
did.
worst take of all time.
Got to be up there.
But Miles Turner, I've had a few of them. Miles
Yeah.
Turner, he's a really good big. I agree with you. I think they got to do something. But, I mean, at this point, I feel like a lot of other pieces become expendable here in your equation because you have Luka Doncic. Like, he is a one-man offense. He's Mr. Make It Happen. Like, now you can sacrifice if you want, hypothetically. All right, Austin Reeves, right? We can let him go if it's, because
Yeah.
a guy like Luka is so great that you can just build the team around. Like, he just
Totally.
he solves everything for you. So, Carson,
I mean, if
think
they could build this roster from scratch, I would be going
that's
all in on defensive personnel around Luka and LeBron, but they can't build this roster from scratch. In fact, they inherited a roster, or didn't inherit, built a roster that had one of the worst perimeter defenses in basketball. They took away the guy who, come a playoff series, could cover all that up. Anthony Davis, still one of the best defensive players in the world when he wants to be. And they also traded away one of their better perimeter defenders in Max Christie. Not to say that he's irreplaceable. And they got back a good defender in Maxi Kleba, but
I mean,
yeah, it's definitely not the
you've got
ideal roster construction around Luka and LeBron.
I think Vando's going to have to step up and play more big minutes for LA now. I mean, he's just
Yeah.
like at a valuable position for him. It's going to be a lot of DFS. I think it's going to be a lot of Vando. I think that Roy's still going to get some burn, and Luka can probably set up some easy offense for Roy. And honestly, Jackson Hayes for the time being. But
Would you give up Rui, Cam Reddish, and another first, the other first that they have for Miles Turner? Because that works cap wise.
Run that back one more time.
Rui, Cam Reddish, and a first for Miles Turner.
Yeah, sure. I mean, your
I'd do
first
it.
don't matter at this point. You have Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I would do it.
And he's a starting caliber center in the league, and those two guys aren't really important to your whole equation. I'm fired up for LA, man. LA was stale. LA was, like you said, they were on that slippery slope to irrelevancy for a long time. And I think that the Lakers can just go in any direction they want because Luka is the ultimate cure-all, right? Like, I mean, he is just that kind of offensive hub, and so creating your roster around him becomes really easy. And yeah, I mean, LeBron is probably expendable too, dude. I wouldn't want to trade LeBron just because I'm so excited to see him play with Luka. But if you wanted to, I mean, if that can fetch you some pieces that are for the future, I feel like that probably outweighs what you got right now. Because it's not like I don't think Luka and LeBron are going to accomplish anything like this year. I don't think LeBron is going to play longer than next season. Maybe he plays next season, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to accomplish anything big in that time. I just think that the team is going to be too far away. So I would maybe explore it. But the Lakers roster is really malleable, man. I mean, Luka's just that kind of piece.
Yeah, you have the foundational piece for sure. I would be inclined to trade LeBron if you were thinking purely from a basketball perspective. Because to me, it is so much about the future window with Luka. Like, I think you concede, okay, we're not winning a title with this weird ass team that we have right now. I don't know how much you would get back for LeBron at this stage, considering he is 40 and we don't know if he's got half a season left or a season and a half or whatever it may be. But I would probably take those assets back just so like you do have some bargaining pieces down the line when you are trying to build that team around Luka, because they have given up a lot of their draft capital in the foreseeable future trying to build a contending team in their current iteration. But I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, I think that LeBron wants to be a Laker, and I think they're going to honor whatever LeBron wants. And you know what, man? That's okay with me because seeing Luka and LeBron would be really fun. There just has to also be something else. Like, personally, I feel like that's a decent trade offer for Miles Turner. I don't know. I guess it's really just a first that intrigues you. Are they going to get more than that, though?
I probably wouldn't do it if I was Indiana, if I'm being honest.
Wouldn't? You wouldn't?
I mean,
what if I said take a second, take 2 seconds? What would get you to make that deal? Would you need an Austin Reeves in there?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think Miles is just too important to that team.
All right. What if I offered you Austin Reeves and nothing else matters? It's going to be cap filler.
Can I get that first too? Or are you not willing to give it?
No, Austin Reeves and a first for Miles Turner.
Why do I need Austin Reeves? I've got Halliburton. I've got Nembhard.
It'd be nice to the Lakers. to help the Lakers build a more serious team.
I'd still be holding Turner hostage.
All right. Well, I'm trying to think about what other centers could become available reasonably. Nobody else is really coming to mind all
I
that
mean,
much. Drew
literally,
Eubanks already got swooped up. He was the
I would
guy.
trade for Donovan Clingan. I would give the
Oh,
Trailblazers like
so would I.
Dryerland, and I'd see if they could give me Donovan
I
Clingan.
mean, bro, they already have Duop Reef. They don't need him. It's
Chill.
obnoxious. Well, that would be erotic if they could get Klingon. Okay. Ethan Flynn says, as a Rockets fan who doesn't even hate the Mavs as much as I hate the Spurs, what is happening, brother? The Mavs are tanking their future. They're making the worst move that we've seen in the history of the NBA.
Okay, what about Clint Capella? That's an acquirable asset.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that. And I think that deal is, I mean, do you even have to include a first? He's Clint Capella.
That's what I'm saying. I think the Hawks would just be interested in moving off of him. I mean,
Yeah,
I think they've been trying to trade him for a while.
I'd be trying to trade him. He's Clint Capella, and they have Onyeka, and Onyeka is the
I
man.
feel like he could actually really help the Lakers. He's
No, he
somebody
could.
that they really need.
A playable center would really help them. I mean, he's also on an expiring, so the contract doesn't even matter. Atlanta, their season's over now. Jalen Johnson is hurt, which sucks. Yeah, I would like to see that. I hope that they can find that center somewhere because that is essential to
Vooch
this
to
being.
LA?
If we want to watch the worst defensive team of all time, but if we want to watch a hell of an offense, I'd be down, man. I can't say no to any center move. If it's the only move on the table, it's an upgrade from what they
And
currently
I'm
have.
sorry for clowning on you Lakers fans. I wasn't familiar with your game, you know?
Bro, all of those jersey swaps,
my
all the
fault. My
photoshops, this
fault.
whole time they weren't even dreaming big enough, bro. They were not dreaming big enough.
It was Melo, or it was Bradley Beal, or it was we're gonna get Zach LaVine, and now it's
Luka Doncic, bro. It's literally Luka Doncic. Okay, Hove did. If LA adds Miles Turner somehow, they get better. I agree. I totally agree. I think that would be very good. Davy boy, I live in Canada. Biggest news I've seen today. You and me both, dude. Could not believe that this was real. Was certain that it was fake. I was looking for discrepancies in how Shams types, and I said, yes, there's no breaking news graphic. And well, why would he put a colon after sources tell ESPN? This is all very strangely
I
written.
mean, this is straight out of 2K, but you had to put on trade override to make this trade
Literally,
happen.
literally. Mullen Weber, Lakers traded a 25-year-old in his prime for an injury-prone 32-year-old. That they did, man. That they did. A 25-year-old coming off of one of the top 4 guard seasons of this century, top 5, what he did. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
beyond me.
yeah. I mean, the Mavs could contend this year, but like again, they got worse because they don't have the guy that makes them special. And
Yeah.
I don't trust Kyrie as that number one in the playoffs. I don't really trust AD to like generate offense like that. The
Who do you like
defense,
more, the healthy Clippers or the Mavs? I like the healthy Clippers a lot more, honestly.
well, the healthy Clippers were
All
Kawhi.
right, well, just go with the thought experiment for a second,
The Clippers. I like the Clippers a lot with Kawhi. I mean, the Clippers to me
as
with
their roster
Kawhi are
makes
maybe
sense.
number 4.
I would say number 3 for me.
Well,
I
actually,
like them more than the Mavs. I
Oh,
would go
well,
OKC,
yeah.
Denver,
I think
Clippers
I
if they're
would.
healthy.
Denver would be 2, Clippers would be 3. I guess Dallas 4, and then
There is no outcome in which Dallas looks back in 3, 5, 7
no.
years and they're happy
Well,
about
and that's
this.
why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying. You know, the Isaiah Thomas trade went down right, and they. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, man. Is that Luka has something that is debilitating long term that the Mavericks have to be scared of injury wise. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, man.
It feels like the only thing that makes sense, but also I don't know. I feel
I
like
just
that would
can't
get
imagine the
caught.
front office giving up
Neither
on
can
Luka,
I.
man.
Neither can I, dude. Completely beyond me how this happened. Matthew Hutzel, how does this affect LeBron's legacy? I'll tell you what this does for LeBron's legacy. It's bad for it. Why? Now all the people who love putting up the graphics where they compare all the all-star teammates and they include like Darren Williams and all those guys, they just got some fucking ammunition because now they can put Luka Doncic up on those graphics. that's how this affects LeBron's legacy because they're not going to win anything. Let's be honest. But it's fun, man. It's video game stuff, like you said. It's too crazy for a video game, even. It's
Yeah,
certainly too crazy to be real
yeah.
life. Wow. I just don't want to get off this live, man. I don't want to go back to normal life. It's not as euphoric as this. This is absolutely insane. This is absolutely insane. I feel 100% confident though, saying that this is the most catastrophic decision in the history of the Dallas Mavericks. This will cause them to regret everything. This will cause them nightmares for years and years to come. There's just no justifying it. You are not winning the title with this team that you've now put together. And you probably weren't going to win the title with the team that you had with Luka, but you had a better chance, right? And in terms of pure matchup, you match up well against OKC. It's just crazy to me. It's a worse roster construction. It's worse talent. And it is so, so much worse for the long-term timeline.
I think it's the worst trade. I mean, Cat giving up Cat was bad, man. This is the
Oh,
worst idea of all time.
this is a completely different level, bro. There was a rationale for the Cat trade. I hated it, but it's, hey, we really don't like this contract. We want to be more flexible. We want to get off it. Fine, Julius Randle sucks, but you can deal with that, man. And he's Karl Anthony Towns. I love the guy. He's not Luka Doncic, bro. This is the modern day version of Moses Malone signing with the Sixers. I don't think that there is a historical comparison for this. I don't think there, dude, this is like fucking the Lakers giving up Dave Myers and Junior
But I mean,
Bridgman
the thing that, yeah,
for
the thing
Kareem, but it's not even because Kareem wanted out.
exactly, and that's what I was gonna say. Is I was gonna be like, well, it's Melo getting traded, but Melo wanted out. Luca,
Well, the Nuggets got back quite a nice haul for Melo.
no, they did because Melo didn't want to wait for the season
Yeah.
to
Oh,
end, where he
yeah.
could
Yeah.
have
You're
just
saying
left
because
to
of
the.
just how stupid it is that he
Well, I
demanded the
was just
trade when he
saying
could have
that.
just left.
Well, and I'm just saying that's the reason it happened because
Yeah.
Melo
There's
wanted
some
out, man.
explanation.
Yeah, this has nothing would hold weight for me, man. You couldn't dress it up any way to justify it for me. I just think it's a catastrophically dumb decision for Dallas.
Completely agree. Wow. Newest from ESPN. This deal materialized in the shadows. LeBron James had no idea this was coming. Anthony Davis had no idea this was coming. I'm told Luka Doncic is still stunned about this trade. Pack those bags, Luka. Head to LA, buddy. Welcome to the city of stars. Okay. Thank you, Alex, for your donation. Ugo says LeBron to the Cavs for Garland and LeVert. Could you imagine? I mean, if I'm the Cavs, I'm not giving up Garland with the season he's having with his age, but that would be crazy. Alex Wright says Nico didn't want to pay Luka. Yeah. I mean, dude, why?
I'm paying Luca whatever he wants.
Like, I understand that now he's had some injury stuff over the last 2 years with him being banged up in the playoffs, but like, this is kind of the first extended stretch that he's missed with injury in his career. He's been super available. Like, are we only focusing on the downsides with Luca now? Are we only focusing on the defense and the injuries and that he whines at officials? And are we not forgetting this is a guy who averaged 34, 9, and 10 damn near last year on 62% true shooting? Like, he is a meteoric offensive talent, man. He is one of the best pick and roll operators we've ever seen. He is a walking mismatch. He improved so much as a pull-up shooter last year. And he's like an all-time great playmaker. I'm just completely baffled by this. There is
And
no explanation that makes sense
I
from
know
the
that
Mavs side.
I know that he's dealt with like his injury struggles and stuff like that, and I've been critical of his defense and stuff, but like, yeah, none of the negatives you bring up. I mean, like, I think Luca's game is also going to age pretty gracefully too, just because of how strong Luca is, right? Like, I just think
Shot making, IQ, passing,
I
strength, those things age well.
I just have no concerns about Luca and his future prospects, and he completely changes your basketball team single handed. He's one of those guys.
He is.
You just don't. It's like the Nuggets giving up Jokic. It's like the Thunder trading Shea. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
There's no explanation. There's no explanation that'll satisfy me. Scott says this trade was an executive move by the NBA to usher in international superstars for the American market. It's a better explanation than anything the Mavs can cough up. But no, I don't think that's it. I think that we're just looking at generational incompetence here from a team that had managed to build a really good roster that made the finals. Mavs fans, I feel so bad for you because I
Yeah.
know that none of you are going to be happy with this. There's not a Mavs fan on earth who's happy right now. Like,
There's no silver lining to this.
there's no silver lining to this. There isn't. You're not better now, and you're so much worse set up for the future. I might shed a tear if I were a Mavs fan, dude. I would be so pissed. I'd break a screen or two for sure.
I'd be devastated.
I would be absolutely devastated. There is nothing more consequential to the long-term future of the franchise. There's no loss you can take that is more devastating than this because you have, for some reason, inexplicably punted on the guy who had the potential to be the greatest player in your
Dude, and
franchise's
even
history.
and again, looking to the future too, just uh, uh, I'm walking in circles here, but like what they got back, like even if that bridge ultimately got burnt, right? And you're looking at this in 25, 26, and you go, oh, Luka might opt out of his contract next season. We need to move him. Well, then you let it be known to the masses, and you just get back so much more than this. Like,
Yeah.
that's the part that I'm still left with too, where I just don't get how you don't get back the
No.
greatest haul of all time for a player like Luka.
You could have gone to the Rockets.
They're
You
getting
could have
back,
gotten every first round pick they have to offer. You could have gotten fucking Amen Thompson, bro.
right,
My
right.
beloved Amen Thompson. Like, there's no price that teams wouldn't pay. Maybe you literally couldn't get that, but you could get 4, 5 first, and you could get a good young player for
Yeah,
any team
man.
that feels like we want to take that next step. But even if you don't feel like you're there, he's 25. He's 25 years old. There is so much window of prime left with Luka. Completely speechless. Like, if we seem incoherent, it's because we just hopped on here after the craziest thing that I've ever seen in
Man,
sports
I
news
was
in my
about to
life.
I was about to go to bed.
Dude, I was in the gym. I got this text and I said, no way. No way. Okay, Scott, thank you for your donation. Says this trade was a power move by the NBA to market international superstars on the biggest stage to fully solidify the direction of the NBA once LeBron retires. I just can't see Dallas signing off on that. Mark Cuban, his big mouth, bro. He would say, no, we're not giving up Luka Doncic. I'm here to win a championship. Every move that we have made is to win a championship. There's no explanation. Like, or maybe there is, and it just hasn't appeared yet. But
Like I said, the one that would make the most sense to me
is the injury.
is
Yeah, I get what you're
injury.
saying. I
But
get what you're saying.
and
Luka is
that's
shocked about this, though. He had no idea. He had no say in this. What the fuck? What the fuck, man? Well, I've been working on a video about SGA all day. That feels silly. Everything feels insignificant compared to this. The new look
this is the
Lakers,
biggest
man.
trade of my life, man. There's nothing that comes close to this.
I think it's the biggest trade ever.
Maybe
It's the
ever.
most shocking trade ever, at the very least. Bottom line opinions on these new basketball teams. The Lakers, as currently configured, are going to be doing some small ball five stuff, I hope, with Maxi Kleba. I think that they will be a bad defense. They have zero rim protection. Their bench is still not good, but I do think their offense will be pretty sick. They got a lot of shooting. They have a superstar tier one creator in Luka Doncic, and they have LeBron James, who is still an elite offensive player. For Dallas, I think that there very well may be moves still in the works for both of these teams. Granted, these are two weird apps. They've got 5 days to figure it out, so we'll see what they do. I think LA, it's mandatory that they go out there and get a center. Dallas could roll with this because they do have good depth. And again, they have the flexibility with the wings. And yes, AD can play alongside a five. And so I think their interior defense will be really good. I think that their shooting will be mediocre just because now you're talking about playing two non-floor spacers. And I think that their offense honestly goes from one of the top 5 groups in basketball that really scares me to a more average group. I think that their defense now is going to be really good. but I think that their offense has lost some major punch when you take out Luka Doncic. Still be okay, but neither of these are teams that are making deep playoff runs unless there's like really something waiting in the wings. Okay, we have more donations. Then we're going to get out of here. Mohammed says, why do the Mavs just destroy their future only to save the Lakers? Your guess is as good as
You tell
mine.
me, and we'll both know.
Your guess is as good as mine. Austin, why did they want AD so bad? Luka on the Rockets would be so much cooler. That would be a lot cooler. I'm not going to lie. Luka on the Rockets would be insane. I
Sick.
get it.
Be
That's your
awesome.
divisional rival. So, like, you're not going to be inclined to do that, but he shouldn't be inclined to trade Luka Doncic to anybody. I agree. That would be way cooler just in terms of having a long-term aligned timeline, very talented team addresses their biggest need far and away. We would be talking about the Rockets as like a major, major title front
Threat.
runner
Yeah,
if they
they'd
were to
be
do that.
top 3 probably.
Yes, that would be so sick. But I guess they wanted AD. I guess they really wanted AD, man. I can't explain it. Kyrie has an player option after this year. Like, I guess he's going to stay around and we'll watch this team just sort of dwindle into complete mediocrity in the next few seasons. And they have to play Anthony Davis $63 million in 2028. That's his player option. Like, they're in this thing, man. That's why I don't
Oh
see how
my
finances could be any part of the
gosh.
equation.
There's
Yeah.
nothing
And look, man,
there's
80's
nothing
great.
good about this optically, man.
80's great. 80's great, but he'll be 32 in a month. And he's not Luka Doncic. Rod Benavides. Is Steve Ballmer calling up Mark Cuban right now to bitch him out? I mean, maybe. Steve Ballmer's got to be pissed. Everybody's got to be pissed. This is crazy, bro. They vetoed the Chris Paul trade. And this is going through. I guess the Lakers got one back, man. The Lakers got one back on him. Mr.
Lakers
Taco
were
about it.
they were
Luka
playing
slept with
they were
Nico's wife.
they were playing chess.
Now we have theories about Luka sleeping with Nico's wife. Hashtag
It's
copium.
got to be some sort of Tony Parker situation.
I'm not writing off any theories at the moment. Everything is on the table. No matter what, if Luka slept with Nico's wife, I'm firing Nico, man.
Yeah. Sorry, boss.
Like, there is just no explanation that makes this justified for the Dallas Mavericks. Literally nothing. So I am sorry to all you Mavs fans, but to the NBA world, holy shit, guys. In a matter of days, we're going to see Luka Doncic playing with LeBron
Luca
James as a
and
Laker.
Pookie Bear.
Mm-hmm. Luka and our glorious king, our glorious sunshine, Legoat and Luka Magic. And we get to see AD with the Mavs.
God, Lakers fans are finna be insufferable.
I mean, they pulled off the great heist, dude.
I would be too if I had Luca.
They did it. They did it. But I would temper your expectations. You're not going to the chip. You're not going to the chip, man. Unless they have a trade for Wemby in the works that we didn't know about. Unless they're giving up Austin Reeves, DFS, and a first for Wemby, which we can't rule out at this time. Everything is on the table.
I think they're gonna trade for Jokic next, man.
Dude, why not? Okay, Cameron says Luka gonna hate LA, miss Texas, and sign with San Antonio. That would be something else. That'd be something else. Or actually, you mentioned Jokic. Luka does love him a little Jokic. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Everything is on the table. What's so crazy about this is my one concern with Luka in Dallas, and I remember specifically thinking about this when they made the Kyrie trade, is if they miss on this, how many more cracks do they have at it before Luka says, I'm too great to be dealing with this. I'm too great to not be on a contending team. You missed with KP. You missed with Kyrie. Now I'm out of here. That was the only concern that I ever had in terms of timeline. Never in a million years did I think it would be the reverse where they bail on him fresh off of a finals appearance with a roster that I think we can all agree is really, really good. Insane. Insane.
Gotta be hurt, man.
I don't know, man. All right. That's going to do it for us here today, guys. We will certainly have more thoughts on this in the following days. We will hopefully learn more information about how the hell this all happened. But thank you for stopping by. Thank you for getting some of your initial thoughts on the deal from us. We appreciate you guys. And God bless the NBA, man. It never fails to deliver. This is insane. Insane.
I'm fired up.
Insane. All right. If you want more of our stuff, I mean, this video about SGA that I made is still coming out, whether you like it or not. Everybody's going to only be talking about this trade for the next week. But SGA is great and he needs to get his credit still. So, that, along with all of our full shows on our YouTube channel, NBA and NFL, you can listen to our show across all audio platforms. And you can follow us across social, TikTok, Instagram at NerdSesh, Twitter at Nerd_Sesh to see clips from the show, graphics from the show, all of our trivia content. And I might go make a TikTok about this Luka thing right now. Maybe I will. Who's going to stop me, Logan? You certainly aren't. So maybe you'll see that there in a matter of minutes. And if you want, you can join our Discord. The link to that is at the link tree across our social media bio, and you can go freak out about the Luka trade in there. So with that, as always, appreciate you guys. Appreciate all of you who donated very generously and all of you who stopped by and all of you who are listening in the future. I've been Carson Brabber.
I've been Logan Camden.
And this was Nerd Sesh.